place, a new home for a while. Let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride. I know man passing by.
Hello, my friends. Another wonderful day in the Philippines. I'm here in Siargao visiting one of my friends, Tim. Tim came to meet me about a year and a half ago to see the house on one of his trips to the Philippines. We've ended up being some pretty good friends. He's got a great story, and I've wanted to do an interview for quite a while, so the timing's just worked out. Anyway, long story short, he's found his sweet spot. He's here, he's built a house, and this is his story. Now, most of us guys would have dreamt about living the lifestyle he had before we got here. So check it out.
I found my way. I found my way. I was in the dark against it.
My name is Tim Hazlett. I'm 57 years old. I'm from Malibu, California.
So you left the good life to live your best life.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I love my life. I didn't have I wasn't unhappy. I wasn't desperate. I just knew that there was something better, and it built up the courage to do it, you know.
Where all did you travel before you decided on the Philippines?
Everywhere from Puerto Rico to South America, Central America, parts of Asia. So about 10 years ago, I decided or started that process of deciding that I wanted to search for something better. Well, in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, I had no reason to leave California. It was a great place to live. So this is a decade-long transition for me.
So you went through a lot of different places before you got here. What was it about the Philippines where you woke up one day and felt at home? I mean, if you did.
Wow, could you have said that any better? I've never felt at home more. It brings tears to my eyes. It's such a welcoming culture. They love Westerners here, and if you're this much humble and kind, you're gonna get that much back. It's a remarkable place in that way.
Now, in my experience, and I'm just curious about you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in America, if you've got a lot of money, you're going to be a lot of attraction in general. Money is a big deal in America. Kindness is the big deal here. Would you kind of equate that somewhat?
Yes, and you can't buy what this culture offers. Absolutely. Yet the people most of them are not wealthy at all. There's very wealthy people in Manila, trust me. But the majority of the regular folks live on very, very small wages, and they're happier than people I know living in $40 million homes. One of my first experiences here, I mean, I landed in Siargao, and the very next morning, I went to look for an ATM, and I needed to rent a moped. And I'd seen the guy earlier, or the night before, that told me he rents mopeds. And I said, okay. So the next morning, I go to try to find him. And I ended up walking into this backyard, and there's 6 or 8 guys sitting around, 3 or 4 women sitting around, drinking their Tanduay and Red Horse, and I felt like I was intruding on their land, and I started to turn back, and they start screaming at me. They don't do this, they go like this. Yeah. And they're like, get over here, get over here. And within 30 seconds, they're handing me a glass of Tanduay, and I don't even drink hard alcohol, but I didn't want to offend. And 3 hours later, I met lifelong friends who are still my friends to this day. And
you know, when I heard that the Philippines is welcoming, that's not the vision that I got. But now that I've been here, when people say the Philippines is welcoming, your story is exactly what's meant by that. Literally welcoming into their world. And that is
Yeah.
that goes beyond just being a very friendly people.
I feel like I'm in the right place. I'm a friendly person. I'm like that. But I've had to filter myself and kind of mute those ideas because I've never been around that type of a community. And here I can just be myself and everyone is the same.
Change the subject a little bit. Now, what would you say to those who are sitting on the fence about coming to the Philippines? Maybe they're insecure about coming or those kinds of things. What would you say to maybe encourage them to have the courage or take the courage to give it a shot?
First thing I'd say, do your due diligence. Watch Daryl's videos. I came out here to see if this guy was legit. I came out here to go to his house. He offered for me to stay at his house. You are what you say. I've never met someone more genuine.
Thank you.
It comes out in your videos. And if you pay attention and don't discard it as, oh, he's just like, you're not blowing it up. You're not tearing it down. You're just literally showing, hey, these are the prices of meat. This is how you can live. This could be your budget if you're not, wanting to be American here. And that was the single most important thing for me personally, of all the research, because that took me off the fence.
What was that? What do you mean? The budget part?
All of your videos.
Oh.
From seeing Valencia to seeing you feed the monkeys. You can't fake what you have. Who would? Why would you? It's absurd.
I think the reason that I started doing videos actually is because most of the guys who I like a lot, that I've met vloggers are from Valencia, Dumaguete area, and believe me, I like them a lot. Consider them friends, literally, and I don't say that cheaply. But my experience was just so much different than theirs because I came from a province, and I was stuck in a province for a year and a half where so that's the only reason I started the channel, because my experience was so much different.
Yeah.
Now the budget, what would you say your budget is? I mean, you built your house. Tell us the story of how that all came to be.
I lease my land. It's extremely cheap. I have a 25-year lease. Once you have a contract, the owner can't sell the land underneath you. So I'm locked in legally. My rent will never go up. Well, it goes up 1% every 3 years, which is nothing. But the value that I can rent it out goes up monthly. So
Yeah.
my profits will always increase. My nut will stay the same. I can live easily under $1,000 a month, easily, comfortably. 1,500, I'm doing very well. 2,000, you feel like you're a millionaire. I mean, I can go out to eat every single night, but I choose not to. I'm trying to do other projects. I'm on a limited amount of money every month, so I like to put savings away.
You found another deal after this house was finished and built.
Mm-hmm.
You found another project. You're building another property. Tell us about that.
That's the beauty of this place.
And you're doing it on your cash flow. You're doing it on monthly income.
Well, I'm investing in property and projects where if I was in California, I'd be struggling not to eat cat food every day. And now I consider myself a venture capitalist because I can do those things on hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars and not hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. So my boatman had a house that was a derelict home, just like you teach. and I wanted to fix it up for him. And before I got my property here, I was going to make a 2-story house. He can live in the bottom floor. I'll live up top, and I would never pay rent. He owns the property. If I build him a house, he's not going to charge me rent. I would pay the electric. I would pay for the Wi-Fi, any water, any bills. I'd be happy to pay that. He would live for free, and I would live rent-free. So right now we're building a 2-story cement, beautiful home, very modern. Him and his wife and child are going to live in the first floor, and we're going to bungalow the second floor and rent it out. And I'm going to turn his job into a career. When I met him, he had 1 boat that was falling apart. Now he has 2 boats. We chopped the nose and the tail off, made it bigger, put a second engine on it. So now he can make a better living, and I haven't even taken a cut of it yet. I don't need it. Once we're generating income off of that, I will take my piece of it, but I don't want to do that until he's making way more money than he was.
So you would say your financial freedom here that you didn't have there has allowed you to pursue other interests that you weren't able to pursue back then?
I don't have a job here, but what I do have is I get to create. And I have, as meager as I live, which is not like, it's not sad. I'm not living,
But it's
in
the
a
same
car.
way you've always lived, right?
It's the same way I've always lived. Just the humble way I live. I can create businesses, opportunities for other people, and I'm always thinking of the locals first. I want to help them, and if it does, that helps me, and that's always the first priority for me. I don't want to come here and buy people's land. This is there.
I want to point out the location you're talking about within reason. So in the world of surf, Cloud 9 and some places here are world-renowned surfing places, and this is Cloud 9, correct me if I'm wrong, is like a world destination for surfers.
100%.
And what you're doing is within how many kilometers? I mean, the house that you're building, how many kilometers is that from Cloud 9?
Okay, so from my rooftop of the building I'm building, I can see Stimpy's, Rock Island, Boomy, Cemetery, and Cloud 9. So all of the major, and Cloud 9 is probably 4 kilometers away, but it's around a point, so you can easily see it.
The point is that you're doing something that's in a very popular area. What you're doing is not some back island somewhere where nobody goes to. It's a La Jolla of the Philippines. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
a destination. It's a destination.
Absolutely.
And you're doing what you're doing on your cash flow, helping the locals in an area like that.
Pinch me.
Yeah.
It really.
Now, when you rented the land and you did those things, that's after you had done some traveling and some research.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of advice would you give to people who are selling everything and moving here?
Bring a suitcase and a backpack. Come here, you can easily and affordably have a small studio where you can keep your suitcase, and then beat it. Go everywhere. Go anywhere you can, because these islands are totally different. They even speak different languages.
Yeah.
The tuk-tuks are different. It's like going to different states. Like Georgians don't talk like people from Boston,
Right.
and here it's the same thing. They're completely different. It's still food, but it's totally different food. And find your happy place, you know what I mean? Like, just go around, and it's gonna hit you where you want to be, and you don't have to walk it in. Get a place for a year. Get a long-term agreement where you are getting a way cheaper monthly, but don't sign a huge lease. And still travel, because this is a place where you can afford to have a home base and then take your backpack and go to Palawan.
And just on the average Social Security income?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're proof of that. You're here in Siargao. And you're building a house. You're renovating a house, living there, feeding dogs, going out to dinner and traveling. Would you be doing that in San Diego? No way.
No. People are going to relate to you maybe differently than they relate to me. And I think it's important, and the reason I wanted to do this interview is because your experience is so positive, and as Westerners, so successful, and people hear the horror stories about they couldn't make it, they got stuck on the streets and those kinds of things. And you've got the ability to talk from your position on how it's worked for you, you know.
I've talked to several expats who are not doing as well as I am. You can't come over here and bring too much America with you. If you do, you're not going to succeed. If you have the money to, and you want to wine and dine women and live that Hollywood style, lifestyle, you can, but you better have the money to do it. I can live within a very small budget here and not be sweating it at all. But you have to change that before you come here.
I didn't change that before I came here. I kind of knew that I didn't have a choice, and I accepted certain things would be the certain way. But until I adapted to the culture, I wasn't really happy living that way. And now I'm happy that way. And I don't need for anything, because on my Social Security income, if I wanted to live in Makati, I could live in Makati.
In a brand new condo.
I recommend it for people, but it's not what I would choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you can live in a very nice condominium here, high rise, in a big city, and have that American style life if that's what you want. It's going to cost you a little more, but it's not going to cost you anywhere near what it would in LA, San Francisco, Las Vegas. But you have to change that in your mind before, at least when you get here.
So let's just, I'm going to throw this out to you. Let's say that you made all of a sudden income of $10,000 a month. Would you stay here, or would you move back to America, or what would you do differently, if anything?
I wouldn't change a thing, but my lifestyle wouldn't change at all.
Okay,
I'm 100% happy with how I'm living.
So
money doesn't change.
If you had that money, extra money every month, and knowing what you know about how what the Philippines has to offer, and coming from one of the best neighborhoods in America, you wouldn't choose to move back?
No way. I would never move back. I went back for 2 weeks and I was immediately stressed out. I had reverse culture shock. I land, I hear the F word for the first time. Cops are whistling and screaming at people. People are having arguments on their phones. It was like a nightmare. And what came to mind was, I used to think this was normal. I used to be part of this. And I had been gone for 10 months. And it was shocking to my soul and to my nervous system. If it wasn't for me visiting my mom and my sisters and my family, I would have gotten right back on a plane. It was that.
How long were you there?
2 weeks. And I was done in 2 days. I was ready to come home, man. This is my home. That's no longer my home. That's a place I grew up.
Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way. I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. 'Cause I found my way. In bad bad times, I know I'll be okay. 'Cause I found my way.